We're live.
Morning.
Good morning. Yep. We were talking just before we got on here about how maybe unprofessional we are in this podcast. I was thinking about, so I have a text message that Molly sent me at 6:26 a.m. It is 7:25 right now about the topic for the day, if this is something that we wanted to discuss. And I was thinking about the Jocko podcast and how like Jocko has like notes, like pages of notes that he writes out before he goes on to
hmm
his shows, but his shows are also
hmm
like 4 hours long. I'd get lost on a 4 hour long show.
Well, and so I was thinking about this, like my one of my bosses, I don't even know what to call him, Steve. He has a podcast, and I see on his calendar he carves out like hours once a week to like sit down and write out like the scripts and everything for them. And I don't know. This is it's off the cuff, and
Off
it's
the cuff for
authentic, is
sure.
what it is. It's authentic.
Yeah. Good morning, Q. I know that's you, buddy. Okay, so I noticed that we're both rocking summertime, sun's out, guns out. So love seeing the guns hanging. Um, how's your week at the gym been? So, well, what is today? Today is
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So last week, how was last week at the gym? Just curious.
Last week, awful.
Why was
I'll be
last week so
honest.
awful?
I was talking to Charlie and Chancey about this on Saturday, and I just really struggled last week. I feel like the workouts were just owning me. Like, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. I was the
Yeah,
nail every workout last week. And I don't know that it was so much like I was trying to do things that I shouldn't have been or anything like that. It was just one of those weeks. Like my body was tired. I could tell I just wasn't really recovering that well. I do think the heat, not to make excuses, I do think the heat and the humidity absolutely plays a part in it.
dude,
Um,
for real.
but I just felt rough. And then I went into yesterday like, okay, I've got to tailor my expectations. I've got to like quit beating myself up so much. Had a little victimy talk with myself on Saturday. Like, all right, Molly, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And went in yesterday with tailored expectations. Like, all right, I'm gonna do what I can. And then yesterday was great. Ended up should have gone RX. I didn't, but should have. And felt wonderful. So I
You
don't
were
know.
like 50-50 RX though, weren't you? Like you used a heavier weight. Did you use the 35-pound dumbbell?
I did 30. I did
Oh,
30.
30. Okay.
But
I saw
even
a
then,
measurement.
I should have. I was a little outside of the
Yeah.
stimulus, a little bit.
Yeah. I
So
totally creep on the leaderboard. Like I go
yeah,
through
I do
and
too.
I
And I
read
read through
everyone's
everybody's
notes.
notes.
Yeah. Um,
I do too.
so I think, it's mid-July, right? And dude, it's hot.
It's hot, and it's
Hot.
the gym is hot.
Yeah.
Like, thank goodness Lindsay's been getting there before me lately, and the doors have been open by the time I get there. But there a couple times, like I'll open the door at 5, and it's like it's oppressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
And,
a good
and
20 degrees hotter in there too.
for sure. It's I call it 3 t-shirt weather because it
Mm-hmm.
takes me 3 t-shirts to coach throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
my laundry is just piling up, piling up,
Yeah.
piling up. And I think that people forget how much of an impact the heat has on their output and their
Yes.
performance.
Yes.
Like when it's hot, like it is in the gym, like you're just not going to be able to perform to the same level that you normally would. And we're getting ready to see this at the CrossFit Games, which is
Mm-hmm.
next week. CrossFit Games are next week. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they start Wednesday,
Yep.
Tuesday, Wednesday. They start Wednesday next
Wednesday.
week. So we see this often at the CrossFit Games. These people train inside of a temperature controlled facility
Mm-hmm.
most of the year, and then they get out on the field at the CrossFit Games with the sun beating down on them and the heat, and we see performances that are subpar from some people that we expect, like, man, they should crush this workout, but they don't because it's just so hot and they're not used to training in that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them that will go to those hotter climates, the month before
Yeah.
and start doing those workouts. And that's another thing. Like, I'm really interested to see what this year looks like too, because this is the first year in how long since they were, well, no, did they do any outdoor events in Texas besides Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, that was at that football stadium, whatever that was.
Yeah, and it was in the evening.
Yeah.
So I don't know when it was, probably Madison the last time they had outdoor events in the daytime, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're gonna have that this year. So that'll be interesting because the last 2 years it's all been in air conditioned arenas, all of
Yeah.
them.
All of it. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see the way it plays out. So I was asking you about how your week of workouts went last week, because I was wondering how much do you think, so we know that it's probably some heat, but you're
Mhm.
also like taking on a couple of new roles.
I
Um,
am, yeah.
I wonder how much, like, how's your stress? Do you think it's your stress level has anything to
Very
do with it?
high.
I
Yeah,
mean, do you think that that's impacting the way that
I
you're
do.
performing at the
I
gym?
I absolutely do. I don't know that it's so much stress levels. I mean, I'm sure my nervous system is feeling it, but I would say for me, it's more sleep and recovery hasn't been as much of a
Yeah.
priority as it has been in the past, and it's absolutely showing up. The other thing that has really shown up is, and this is a whole podcast topic in and of itself, um, because I've been so busy, like in between calls, and I'm working on adjusting my schedule so this doesn't happen. But I usually only have time to drink my food and not like sit down and eat it. And so it's a lot of shakes and things.
Yeah.
And I always keep an eye on my macros because I don't love tracking macros because there's some reasons that I think it's maybe not the best way to necessarily focus on things, but I have like a ratio where I know I feel really good if I get this many carbs and I hang out around this amount.
Yeah.
And so I keep an eye on that, and my macros have been right. And then I had a conversation with Charlie, and then I was thinking about something that Lindsay had said. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder what the quality is though of my macros, because you can have two meals with identical macros and one is trash and one's
Yeah.
not. Not that I eat trash, but so then I started looking at my micronutrients because I keep everything in chronometer or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a big old difference between when I'm eating like whole food meals with the same macros as like a smoothie
Yeah.
or protein balls or, quick things. So that I made that adjustment too over the weekend. And that could have also been why Monday felt so much better. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're living the busy lifestyle right now, and making an adjustment with some new work stuff going on, and it's hot. There's a lot of different factors that can affect your performance. I mean, hey, I'm not over here saying that I'm crushing it, because I have not been. I actually ended up tapping out of a workout on Saturday.
Okay. Side note, I was speaking of stalking people and reading notes. I read your note for Saturday's workout, and it made me feel so much better because Saturday was where I got done with that workout and I looked at Charlie and Chancey. I'm like, I might as well just quit CrossFit. Like, what is happening?
It was so hard.
That workout was terrible.
Yeah. I've like blocked it out of my memory. I don't even remember what it was. It was deadlifts, box jumps,
box jump. Yeah, box jumps and pull-ups.
And pull-ups, yeah. So it was
a hero workout. It felt like a hero workout.
It was 20 deadlifts, 20 box jumps, and then was it 20 pull-ups? I feel like I wasn't doing 20 pull-ups.
It was 15 deadlifts.
Oh,
20 box jumps, 25 pull-ups.
15,
something like
20,
that. 25.
Yeah. So I came in with Gunner to do that workout. And so it was 5 rounds each. We went back and forth. He did a round, I did a round. And I started with the RX loading. So something that I've noticed about myself is that I'm able to achieve the RX loading at the gym for the most part. It is the gymnastic stuff that usually bites me in the butt. Yeah. But as far as the loading stuff goes, I'm usually able to achieve that. So I had 225 on the bar, and the first round, it felt really, really good. Mm-hmm. But Gunnar and I were trying to keep our rounds to 3:30. So we weren't even looking at the overall time necessarily. I was just resetting my watch every time somebody finished a round so that I could keep us on a 3:30 track. Mm-hmm. I was able to do the first round in 3:30, right at 3:30. And then the next round, I had to cut my pull-ups short. And then the next round, I had to cut my deadlifts and my box jumps and my pull-ups short. So for the for the four. No, I think I even dropped weight in that third round. And then the fourth round, I dropped weight and did the beginner, the
There
Liberty
was
rep scheme.
a little bit of progressive scaling
Yeah.
happening.
So I went in the duration of this workout from like the most advanced version of it to the least advanced version of it across 4 rounds, and then tapped out of the 5th round. I did one deadlift and my back was just so blown up. Like there was just so much blood flow and I had such a huge pump that I went to like deadlift the bar down after my first rep on the last round. I looked at Gunnar, I was like, bro, I can't do anymore. Like my spine's gonna explode.
I'm not happy that you felt that way, but I am so happy it was not just me.
Yeah.
I started with white and I kept the weight on the whole time, cut my pull-up reps down to 15. Then I think I had a couple that were 10. I didn't even score it. And then I finished with ring rows because I was dying.
Yeah,
I was actually dying.
It was a really hard workout.
It was really hard.
I mean, I knew it was going to be hard, but I didn't.
It felt harder. It felt harder than the 4th of July one that we did.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes I appreciate workouts like that. Sometimes you got to be reminded, like, hey, this is like you might be doing good, but this is still really hard stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been like, I was like. The next day I was like, no, I think I'm just going to stick to the intermediate for a while. So I've like officially been humbled and I'm doing the intermediate, the independence, and just like trying to hit time frames, trying to hit rep scores, or rep targets. Like I had a whole thing for yesterday's workout, which is today's workout, like how I was each thing I wanted to be able to do. And I was like, I don't care what happens. I'm just going to stick with this. And work my way through this and just try to maintain. So that's where I'm living at right now. Like I'm in, let's just maintain some movement.
Yeah. Here. And I think it's worth saying too, to like everybody listening, because I think we all go through this. Like a month ago, I feel like I was doing a lot of RX workouts and getting through them and hitting the stimulus. And then last week was a lot of Liberty, a lot of red variation. Yeah. So, it comes in ebbs and flows, and different stages of life definitely have an impact on things. And I'm seeing that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's okay to scale.
Yeah.
It happens. Like, it's not a big deal. I mean, that's a part of CrossFit. Scaling is a part of CrossFit. It's the only way that you can improve. If you're just constantly chasing, like, I don't care where I'm at. I see what that number is on the board and I'm going to put that on my barbell and I'm going to go. Like you're never going to
smash.
Yeah.
And it's going to crash and burn. And then you're not going to improve your fitness.
Yeah. So then I wonder how many people out there in the world are doing that kind of stuff where they just go in and kind of smash themselves in the face. Like, I feel like there's like 2 extreme opposites. Like last week we kind of talked about how there are people that are going in and working hard, like these people are working hard and not getting anywhere, kind of smashing their face into the ground.
Those are probably the people that feel like, oh, I didn't get a good workout if I'm not sore.
Yeah. And then I feel like there's the opposite end of it where it's like people are going in and just kind of going through the motions and like ticking the box of I walked into the gym, I had got kind of sweaty and then walk out. And I'm not saying that CrossFit is the only way to get fit, strong, and healthy, but it's the best way.
So I heard this question and again, maybe this is a whole other podcast topic, but it really got me thinking. So CrossFit is not a sport, right? It is a methodology. And that's what makes it so different than everything else that, we see out there. If you took away the barbells, if you took away the kettlebells, the dumbbells, if you took away the pull-up rig, the rings, all of the stuff, and you were just left with the methodology, would it still work?
If you were just left with the methodology, if you didn't have the tools
none of the equipment, if you took away all the weights, the rings, everything, but still had the methodology, would it work?
Ooh, I mean, I think so.
I say absolutely it would.
Yeah. So by definition, CrossFit is constantly varied functional movement executed at a relatively high intensity.
And you can still do all of those things.
Yeah. So you could, if all you had was like body weight gymnastics.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess like I would even go as far as to say, because the question was posed to, like, if you took away all the fancy gym stuff. And I was thinking, well, yeah, absolutely. Because that's how the garage gym was born, was out of not having this stuff and, filling things with sand and
Mhm.
using odd objects. Like, I mean, my goodness, you can do CrossFit with 2 gallons of milk.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you mean like you're not saying removing external load completely? You're just
Correct.
talking about taking out like um so Alexis Raptis is a CrossFit Games athlete, and she was kind of the person that I was thinking of earlier. So I watched Alexis do the online qualifier for the games, and she won.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she had like this, everything was like perfectly set up. Like
Mm-hmm.
she had a fan interface, and her everything was laid out perfectly, and she had the nicest equipment and all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, man, it's gonna suck when you get to the games because there ain't gonna be no fans pointed at you. But anyway, um, if everything wasn't perfect, I think is
Mm-hmm.
the point that you're getting at.
Yeah. Yeah. And if we didn't have like the fancy barbells and we didn't
Yeah.
have, yeah, like would the methodology still work?
Yeah, I mean, you still have to find a way. Like, so if we think about the definition of functional movement, right? What do you remember what the definition of a functional movement is?
I do. So when we think about functional movements, I was thinking about this, like usually people talk about like descriptors of them, but by definition, CrossFit defines functional movement as the ability or the capacity to move large loads, long distances quickly.
Yeah. So I think that you have to consider the large load piece.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be a barbell. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be a dumbbell. It doesn't have to be a kettlebell. It
But some
could
sort of
be,
external load.
yeah, it has to be, you have to be able to move some sort of external load. So when we're talking about body weight only,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can move a large load over a long distance quickly with your body weight. Think about a burpee, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about as far and as quick as you're going to move that
Right.
load, but
Your full body load.
you're also at maximal load there
Right. Right.
as far as a
So you're
body
not
weight
going to
movement
test
is
like one
concerned.
rep maxes or anything like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So you're really talking more about like a strength stamina or muscle endurance kind of a thing, or maybe like
mhm.
a lung capacity kind of a thing when you're talking about like burpees, like or moving body weight type stuff. But you can still train the monostructural movement. You can run,
Right. You
you know
can
what I
still
mean?
train all the modalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can still train all
Monostructural.
of it. It's that external load that you've got to figure out.
The weightlifting would be the only thing. I was thinking about this morning, and this is
But
so
what is
off topic.
weightlifting?
It's just adding load to
Yeah.
any movement.
That's
Yeah.
in CrossFit. Weightlifting is moving an external load.
Right. I mean, that's a wall ball is considered
Yeah.
weightlifting.
Well, I mean,
So,
carrying the groceries in from the car to
right.
uh, kitchen would be weightlifting,
Right.
technically.
Yeah. So that's why I was thinking, like, man, you could take everything out of it. You could take almost the
Yeah.
gym out of it. And you could, yeah, the methodology would still work. I still argue that you would get results. And because also keeping in mind that the methodology also includes the other 23 hours of the day.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
eating and everything. Totally off topic, but
Well, it's not off topic. I mean, you're right. Like the base of the pyramid, the theoretical development of an
mm-hmm,
athlete starts with nutrition. So
mm-hmm,
I mean, if you're doing CrossFit, then you're doing nutrition. That's the number one thing that you have to
right.
be paying attention to, right? So, I mean, that if you're at least starting with paying attention to your nutrition and following some kind of nutrition plan, then you're doing CrossFit
Mm-hmm.
on some level.
Yeah. Yeah. And how many people are actually doing CrossFit and don't realize it?
Yes.
Which brings me to a conversation that I had with a lady.
It took us
That was a 19-minute intro.
It took us 19 minutes to make that transition. I was trying to get there.
Yeah, I took us off topic because I was just thinking about that. Like, man, CrossFit is so stinking cool because it is the one thing that like you don't need a gym for and you would get results. And I just think that's really neat because it's the methodology. But anywho, I was having a conversation with a lady and I was asking her about her fitness, her working out. She shared with me that she works out and goes to a gym regularly. And I said, "Oh, tell me a little bit more about your gym." And she said, "Oh, well, it's in this like garage warehouse style. You know, we roll up the garage doors." I'm like, "Okay, tell me more about it." And she says, "Yeah, we do like some weightlifting stuff and some barbells, and we get sweaty and we do some like cardio." And immediately I said, "Oh, cool. Is it a CrossFit gym?" And the look on her face was one of just disgust. And she's like, "Oh, no, it's not CrossFit." Like immediately, "No, it's not CrossFit." And I said, "Oh, okay." And she said, "Yeah, it's like," and she said, "Do you know what functional movement is?" And I said, I have an idea." And she said, "Yeah, so you know, like when you get old and you pick things up and you have to like put something up on a shelf, like those movements." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And she said, "Yeah, so what we do is it's like we do heavy lifting with barbells and dumbbells, and then we do functional movement. So really the whole purpose of the class is like we train," and she literally said, and I quote, "We train for life."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh," and I said, "And it's not a CrossFit gym?" I straight up said, "It's not a CrossFit gym?" "No, it's not a CrossFit gym. It's owned by a strongman competitor." I said,
Yeah.
"Okay." So a disgruntled, de-affiliated CrossFit gym is
Yeah.
what it is.
I mean, probably. Yeah, that's
So it got me thinking, because in this call it was a conversation I was having with a lady about nutrition and health, and it was not the appropriate time to like whip out the L1 manual, and I had to
like,
really bite
let
my
me
tongue a
tell
little.
you about
I was like,
functional movement, lady.
actually, let's talk about what CrossFit is. So then it got me thinking about, you know, it's been a while. It's been close to a year since we first talked about, well, what is CrossFit? But how many people are doing CrossFit that don't realize they're doing CrossFit?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm probably going to have a bit of a different take on this than you
Mm-hmm.
would expect.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, okay. When I think of CrossFit, constantly varied functional movement executed at a relatively high intensity. Okay, I can get down with that. Like, yeah, that lady was probably doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the definition of CrossFit, right? That's like, well, it is the definition of CrossFit, but it's very okay. Let me back up. This is very specific. This is very specific to CrossFit. Sorry. But when you start to change, like you also have to look at that theoretical development of an athlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're constantly trying to progress up that pyramid and
Mm-hmm.
move towards something. So we would say in our gym that the top of the pyramid is life. Where it's
Mm-hmm.
sport, we would say, hey, we're not training to go and compete in sport, we're training to go and compete
Right.
in life.
Yeah. And I would say like, yeah, treating life as the sport.
But at some point, you start to skew into one direction. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that is the point where I start to question, now, are we still doing CrossFit? So when you're talking about what this lady is doing, I'm thinking about our strength class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would you call our strength class a CrossFit class?
No. And I was thinking about this too. So no, I wouldn't call our strength class a CrossFit class,
Why
but
not?
it is. Oh man, I don't know. It's not. Oh man. I mean, the intensity is there in a different way. It's not
Yeah, the
structured quite
intensity
the
is there
same.
for sure. Yeah.
I would say like
Functional movement,
it's still, yeah, it's functional movement executed at a relatively high intensity,
but it is not.
but it is not CrossFit. So what makes a CrossFit class a CrossFit class?
So it's not constantly varied. So it is
Yeah.
and it's not, right? So I basically have like a list of like
Mm-hmm.
20 to 25 movement patterns that I want to go through in that class. And we don't really vary away from that too much,
Mm-hmm.
specifically because I want to develop strength in those patterns. So we're going to squat, we're going to hinge, we're going to press things over our head, we're going to pull things from
Mm-hmm.
over our head, right? We're going to do that vertically and horizontally. We're going to lunge and we're going to rotate a little bit. But I don't get too far away from the way in which those are delivered week over week over week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
It's a more of a linear progression.
yeah, it's a straight up linear progression, and the variance of movement doesn't change too much.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a ton of advancement of those movement patterns where So last week, for instance, we did a front squat, which is probably one of the harder variations or advancements of a squat that we will do in that class. But that's it. Like, we're not going to go into an overhead squat.
Overhead squat.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the point of the movement, to express your ability to do that movement at a more difficult variation. Where in CrossFit, I would say the overhead squat, I'm just going to leave my arm up here the whole time too. So
you need to pull those armpits forward.
Yeah, I got it. So in CrossFit, we would say that an overhead squat it's nothing more than your ability to advance that movement pattern.
That advanced expression of a squat.
Yeah, that's the value of it, right? Like, when we think of the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum, the overhead squat is like way over here on fitness on that gauge, where the air squat is probably somewhere between sickness and wellness.
Yeah.
Right. So the air squat, the back squat, the front squat, and then the overhead squat.
Overhead squat.
So I think that is like, I would need to see what they're doing inside of that class.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about the constantly varied aspect of it, because everything that she just said very well could be a strength class.
Yeah. So I think that is probably, oh, hey, man, we have a comment. It was Q. He waved at us.
Aw, yay. Hey, going viral.
I can show it. Look. Hey. So I think that is, to me, that constantly varied piece is the big separator. But I would say that they're probably still doing a variation of CrossFit.
I would agree. Because
did I burst your bubble?
No, because no, not at all. I would argue, I would say they probably are, because I mean, even in the strength class though, like, sometimes you throw in bike sprints.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have, there's a monostructural piece with jump roping and sled drags, and those are not on a linear progression, like, especially those finishers. And that, to me, is the kind of the constantly varied, like, little tip of the iceberg that gets sprinkled in there. And I think that's also what keeps it fun and interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, even to that, I would say I'm still not varying that. Like,
it's still like, there's still a handful that we're pulling from.
Yeah. It's bike sprint, sled drag, farmer carry variations. You know what I mean? Like, and look, I want to do, I specifically put bike sprints in because it's easy to ramp up and get your heart rate high, and you don't have to spend a ton of time on it to get there. I was actually talking, I was actually talking to John about this yesterday, John Spitz, because we had bike sprints in the workout yesterday in our CrossFit class. And John's like, man, he's like, I can't figure out how to breathe on the bike. He's like, I got it on the rower. He's like, but man, the bike just tears me up. I'm like, yeah, dude, like, every time you jump on the bike and we say, hey, we want that 80% effort here, like, you can get to that 80% effort really fast and you feel good getting there. And then all of a sudden it hits you like a brick wall, and it's like, oh man, like, I can't breathe. I can't control my arms. I can't control my legs anymore. Like, what is happening to me? I'm falling apart. Why did this happen all of a sudden? Well, it's because you're able to ramp that intensity up so fast that your body, like, lags behind. Like, your brain's like, intensity, intensity, intensity. And your body's like, oh, that's what we're doing. Kind of thing, right? Where it's much harder to do that on a rowing machine. Yeah. You have to kind of ramp up.
You ramp it up.
I think the same thing is true for most people when it comes to sprinting. So if I was going to program 100-meter sprints, how long does it take someone to get from 0 to 80% effort, or from 0 to 100% effort in that sprint? Well, they've probably gone 50 meters before they're halfway through the sprint before they're picking up their pace. Where on the bike, you can just jump on and go.
And I would even say, like, it takes a couple of those 100-meter sprints before you really even get to that point too, like, to warm up.
Yeah, for sure.
But you don't have that on the bike. Like, the bike is just.
So that is why we are constantly in our strength class. That's why we're constantly seeing the bike. more and more and more and more. And then I like to throw things like heavy carries afterwards. So like you already can't breathe, and now you got to figure out, how do I carry this thing and breathe? So to me, that's like the functional part of it, right? Like there's a small piece of the unknown and the unknowable in there. So just a fun little, I'm all over the place this morning, Molly.
That's okay. And I would say that that's still varied, because varied
Yeah.
is not random. And like, even though it's out of this group of, 10 things, 5 things, like it's still varied.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I was driving to class this morning thinking about this podcast, and I was like, man, we're like 25 episodes in, and I've told like all 25 stories that I have. So I'm like running out of stuff to talk about. You guys everyone's probably already heard everything that I have to say, but I used to put myself into scenario when I was exercising. And I don't know if this is just like the soldier part of me, or just like the weird twisted part of me. But like, if I was doing a med ball run, I would always think like, okay, Lainey is dying and she's in my arms and I have to get her to the hospital. Like, that was like the scenario that I would put myself in. You know what I mean? Like, no one is going to be able to help her unless I can get her there. No one's going to be able to get her there but me. So I would like think about that as I'm carrying this med ball. Like, there's no way that if that was happening to Lainey, there's no way I would put her down. I would run so far for so long. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think about that in the programming a little bit. Like, can I get you to go to a place where like you are like you have to bring your head to something completely,
you have to get into that kind of twisted place to
be able to continue to move. Yeah. So like, I think that there's an element of suffering involved in CrossFit also. And that I do try to bring that into the strength class a little bit.
I love it. So, and what's interesting too is, I mean, the strength class that we have, that we're describing, and the strength class that I know a lot of other gyms have, the type that we're talking about, that I think is arguably and evidently very effective, usually is born out of a CrossFit gym.
Oh yeah.
Or in a gym that also does CrossFit. So I think that's also interesting.
Well, so I mean, the thing that we're missing in our strength class is the longer endurance piece. Right. So we talk about in CrossFit, we don't train muscle groups, we train energy systems. And we used to do level method. And I feel like level method had a good way of describing the energy systems. And it's been so long, I'm probably going to mess this up.
Oh, this is what I suck at.
So. Yeah. So level method had like there are 3 energy systems. So like, basically you have your short and intense, your long and endurance, and then everything that was in between. Right. And level method would have called it I'm not even going to try it. I think it was like the electrical, the middle was the plumbing. I can't even remember what the
plumbing and I'm going to look it up now because it's going to bother me.
Well, you can go and look it up.
I'll tell you.
So in CrossFit, we're trying to train through those 3 energy systems throughout the week. So
electricity, plumbing, and ventilation.
Yeah. So electricity would be like your short, fast, and heavy, or your short duration stuff that's only going to take a few seconds. So think like 1 rep max or 100-meter sprint or something along those lines, right? What was the long one?
The long one was ventilation.
Ventilation. So ventilation is like your long and endurance-y stuff. So like 5K run, right? And then the plumbing is the thing that kind of ties the whole house together. And it's everything that lives in between there. So you're looking at the 7 to 15 minute time frame. And that's where we like to live in couplets and triplets, right? So 2 to 3 exercises combined together over a 7 to 15 minute time frame. Or is it 7 to 12 minutes? I think it's 7 to 12. 7 to 12 minutes. Yeah, I'm kind of spacing on the time a little bit there. So rather than saying, hey, we're going to come in on Monday and we're going to do back and buys, we're going to come in on Monday and we're likely going to be in the plumbing, right? That's where we spend most of our time, or that place that's kind of tying your fitness together, the long and the short. And then Tuesday, maybe we're going to go long, right? So we're working into that ventilation system. Wednesday, we're probably going to go back to the plumbing. Thursday, we're probably going to go back to the plumbing. And then maybe Friday, we're going to come in and we're going to work on what they call the short one?
Electricity.
Yeah, the electricity. So something short, fast, and heavy, right?
So why is that useful in life?
Yeah,
to train those pathways instead of
it's that constantly
muscles.
It's that constantly varied piece. I mean, it really kind of sums all of it up, right? Like it's the constantly varied functional movement executed at that relatively high intensity for whatever that piece is, because we're preparing for the unknown and the unknowable.
Right. So I think about it like this, like, okay, so if Lainey is dying and you've got to pick her up and run her to the hospital because it's the zombie apocalypse and you can't get in your car or anything.
Worst case scenario, just the worst thing.
Yeah. You're not, yes. Like very grim. You're not thinking as you pick her up, oh, I've got to use my biceps.
Yeah.
And I've got to use my hamstrings to scoop as I run. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I got to be able to access this part of me that's going to allow me to move and breathe and keep my heart rate somewhat under control for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's what we're training is because, life doesn't happen in isolated muscle groups.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, when you sit down on the toilet, you're squatting, right? When you pick up the groceries and carry them into the house, you're doing a deadlift and a farmer's carry. When you pick a heavy box up and you put it up on top of a shelf, you're doing a clean and jerk. You know, when you get up off of the floor after playing with your kids, you're doing a burpee. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how many shuttle sprints I did last night when Gunnar was throwing footballs into the net, just back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of those things live or are a part of our life. And that is why we like CrossFit. CrossFit is going to give us access to all of those movement patterns and variations in a controlled environment so that we can understand and learn to fail. I mean, I feel like that's what it's all about. CrossFit is all about failure and learning how to fail.
And learning how to do it and then being able to adjust.
And learning how to adjust, right? And then training those thresholds more and more like over time. Where the strength class and potentially what this lady is talking to you about is not thinking like they're thinking about, we pick things up, we put things down, but likely they're probably not thinking about training those different electricity, plumbing, ventilation type
those
things.
Different pathways or those different energy systems.
Yeah, I hope we don't get sued for using level method stuff. So
energy systems.
I mean, it was just that honestly,
that's a great way of putting it though. I had never even thought about it like a house and the electricity, the plumbing and the ventilation. I never thought about it like that.
So that was one of the big reasons why we went with level method, was because of their ability to describe the training. And it was all CrossFit. They just came up with a little bit more of a relatable way to
user friendly. Yeah.
Because Glassman didn't care. Glassman, like, I don't know if you've ever listened to Glassman talk, listeners out there, but you should go and listen to a Glassman speech and see how long you can get into it before he says something and you're like, what?
I was just going to say, before you're like, wait, that just went way over my head. And it's like 3 seconds in.
So I remember when I was first getting into CrossFit, man, I was soaking up all of the Glassman that I could soak up. But it would take me a month to get through a single podcast because I would get 2 to 3 minutes inside of a video or a podcast he was doing, and he would say something and my head would just like explode. I'm like, what is he talking about here? Like, what did he just say? So then I would just like go and deep dive on that. And once I'm like, okay, I feel like I kind of have an understanding of what he's talking about now, then I would listen to the next 3 to 5 minutes. Or listen up until I hit that point where he said something that blew my mind again, and then go and research
and we
that.
Have to like 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
This is a piece of advice that I used to give aspiring coaches, was listen to Glassman and listen to it again and again and again and again. And every time you don't fully understand something that he's talking about in regards to the training methodology of CrossFit, go research it. Stop there. Don't go any farther. Like, I don't care how far you are into the video or the podcast, stop there, go and research, get an understanding of what he's talking about, and then go farther. Man, you can listen to Greg Glassman for a lifetime if you do it that way.
Yeah. So thinking back about our strength class, because this is something else that I feel like I've had a lot of conversations lately with people that have been talking about like, oh yeah, it's summer, sun's out, guns out. I want to increase my biceps or, have big biceps, big triceps, all these things. What's the difference between just people that want bigger muscles versus like actually gaining strength? And how do we define strength?
Oh man. So in regards to our specific strength program, the goal is strength, not muscle, for longevity's sake. So if you want muscle mass, right? If you want guns, then you want to go and win the hypertrophy. So
I think about that a lot.
Yeah, winning the hypertrophy. Yeah. So we are not chasing hypertrophy in our strength class. We are chasing muscle density, essentially, right? Like, we want to recruit more muscle fibers so that we can lift more weights, rather than get lots and lots of blood flow into those muscle fibers to make them bigger. So the difference, like when we're talking about like sets and reps and stuff like that, if I want to get bigger, then I'm going to do higher volume with
higher volume, lower weight.
Yeah. So I want to pick a weight that I can, like, let's take a curl, for instance, right? So if I want my bicep to become bigger, then I have to train I want to train the different points of the bicep. I want to train the bicep at different angles and things like that. I want to pick a weight that I can hit for like 3 to 5 sets of like 15 to 20 reps. Right? Where if I want my bicep to get strong, then I'm going to lift a heavier weight for lower reps. But the reason that I want to train your bicep and your tricep is because I want to protect your elbow. I want to build muscle around the joint. I want to build the tendon and ligament strength around the joint so that you don't have elbow problems in the future. So that you've got muscle, tendon, and ligament that are going to take care of that joint. So that when you get older, you can still bend your arm to wipe your ass.
Yeah. So the reason I was asking about this is, and this goes back to the isolated movement patterns and like cable machines. I think about like at Globo gyms that are just training, like, for example, we're going to do preacher curls. Like you're isolating that one.
I did preacher curls yesterday, by the way.
And like nothing wrong with that, but having that compound functional movement is
I think if that is the only
thing that you're doing, right?
It depends on your goals also, Molly.
Right.
And your function in life. Yeah.
So, and that gets me to this next thing. Like, the traditional definition of strength is what? Just contractile potential of
Pretty
a muscle.
Much, yeah. Yeah. That's
versus CrossFit's definition of strength is the productive application of force. So actually being able to do the thing. So the reason I was thinking about this, you can probably tell I'm studying for my L3.
Yes, I can. I was like, let me see your notes.
I don't have any today. This is how I'm really excited.
Man, this just hit me, girl. Let's go.
Yeah. So I really, really wish that I had found CrossFit, 10 years ago, and would have had the opportunity to go to some of these L1s that like Nicole Carroll was at and things. Yeah. So apparently they were talking about one of the things that she used to do is they would have her go to the front, and then they would pick the strongest looking male in the class and have him go to the front. And they would both put a barbell of like 95 pounds on their back and then squat for reps. And every single time she would beat them out. Because it was the productive application of force. And a lot of times it was usually because whoever the guy was that they took up there was, had come from that more traditional, like Globo gym background of, just training these isolated muscle groups. And I just think that's really interesting with what we do too. Like, yeah, we're going to put muscle mass on for sure, but it's all about what can we do with it And I think that differentiates us a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you're talking about the like functionality, that's what you're talking about, right? We talk
Mhm.
about, so technically a functional movement is a movement that allows us to move a large load over a long distance quickly. But I think that there's an application piece there also. So you have to
Mhm.
be able to apply, like you're saying, you have to be able to apply the strength that you're building to something outside of the gym.
Mhm.
Okay. That's where CrossFit is, it kind of butters its bread, I suppose. Okay. So for instance, as I'm going to talk about myself like I always do. So as I'm coming through my CrossFit journey, I'm like, I start and I'm like, oh, barbell, me like barbell, right? So I'm like, okay, Olympic lifting. I really like
Mhm.
Olympic lifting. So I just went meathead on Olympic lifting for a year. And then I'm like, okay, I'm learning a lot about this. Not that I'm perfect at it, but I've learned a lot that I can apply and bring back into my CrossFit life because
Mhm.
that's what I really wanted to do. Then I'm like, oh, powerlifting. So I'm like, I'm gonna go meathead on powerlifting for a year or so, right?
Mhm.
Gymnastics. Okay, I'm gonna go meathead on gymnastics for a while. And what I noticed throughout that time, particularly with the powerlifting stuff, because powerlifting is all about moving maximal weight.
Mhm.
It's how much weight can I bench press? How much
Mhm.
weight can I back squat? How much weight can I deadlift? That's it.
Mhm.
That is all the sport is about. When I was really, really strong and getting really, really good at powerlifting, I noticed I was working at the refinery that by the time that I would climb to the top of a tower, I was dead.
Mhm.
I mean, I was absolutely dead. And I realized, so we were having an issue on one of the towers one time, and I had to carry a steam hose up the ladders. And sometimes you can't just carry the steam hose, like wind it up and carry it up. You have to like hand over hand the steam hose
Mhm.
up and coil it up, and then you got to grab the end and climb up the ladder with the end in your hand, and then hand over hand pull it back up. And you're talking
Sounds
about,
awful.
yeah, I mean, you're talking about 100 to 150 feet. I think maybe one of those towers was around 200 feet, maybe just shy of that. And I remember having to get that steam hose all the way up with me to the top of this tower, and I was so exhausted by the time I got to the top. Well, I thought, man, if any of my fellow operators was ever in trouble and I had to get to the top of this tower to help him
Mhm.
potentially save his life, he's gonna die up
Mhm.
there because I might be really, really strong, but I have no fitness to back it up. I have no work capacity
Mhm.
to back it up. And that's another element of CrossFit that we don't see in the strength class that maybe this lady that you're talking to isn't seeing, that would make it CrossFit,
CrossFit.
right? Which would be the work capacity across broad time and modal domains, meaning you can do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it, however you want to do it.
Mhm.
I don't know that our strength class puts us there. I don't know that our strength class puts us in that place. I would say that they live in that electricity world.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe kind of somewhat into the plumbing.
Mhm.
So like they're able to lift heavy weight. They're able to move fairly quickly because we are
Mhm.
putting a little bit of that shock on the aerobic system. But if they had to do something over a long period of time, perhaps climb a tower up to 150 feet and then work
Mhm.
in between at different levels, where maybe it's
Mhm.
like a run, like sprint, or a run,
Yeah.
run,
Well,
they're going to struggle.
Murph is a perfect example of that
Yeah.
because by itself, I mean, yes, they do some aerobic or monostructural movements, jump roping, biking. We can say that's similar to the run or the row. They do a lot of pull-ups. They do a lot of push-ups. They do a lot of squats.
Yep.
But putting them together in that long duration workout,
that's what you're missing.
What is that going to look like?
So I think we came into this conversation thinking, well, if you're doing squats and you're doing burpees and you're doing pull-ups,
you're doing functional movements,
then you're doing CrossFit.
I mean, it's in a garage with the doors up. It's got to be CrossFit.
It's got to be CrossFit, right? So I'm not quite sure what conclusion we've come to here. Is it CrossFit or is it not?
Yeah, we don't know.
I would say,
but there's definitely.
I would think
there's
that
something
probably
magical about.
Doing, I would say probably what they're doing is a variation of our strength class. That would be my bet.
Yeah.
If it's
well, and talking about lifting heavy things, because it wasn't just like using barbell, it was lifting heavy. And I mean, we think about this in CrossFit too. Like, yeah, sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it's really light, and that light load turns and being really heavy. So yeah, I don't know that we did come to a conclusion, but it was a good review and just like what really is CrossFit.
Yeah.
And then I think, and again, this could be a whole other topic too, just the immediate response of, ew, no, it's not CrossFit.
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know. And as we were talking about, how are we going to have this conversation today? I think that was the thing that weighed on me more than like, oh, well, she would say that she's not doing CrossFit. We would say that you're probably doing a variation of CrossFit or something that is CrossFit derived, something that would not exist in the form or the method that it exists today if it weren't for constantly varied functional movements executed at a relatively high intensity so that you can build work capacity across broad time and modal domains over a lifetime.
Yep.
Right? Because those definitions of CrossFit and fitness have exploded into a bajillion variations of this thing, all of which maybe somehow eventually in the metaverse would have come together to form a thing. But CrossFit streamlined all of that. So I think, we look at these different sports, strongman, Olympic weightlifting is a big one. High rocks, Spartan race, like all of these different things that people are doing, man, CrossFit made all of them. Like CrossFit made all of that stuff cool. So I guess my question is more about like, why is it so bad to say that you're doing CrossFit?
Like, ew, CrossFit.
Why is it so
it's not CrossFit? Yeah. I mean, my gut, and again, I did not have the opportunity to dig into that question, but my gut is that because of the top of the pyramid being sport and what people see as the highest level of expression of CrossFit and thinking that that's what everybody does. And, right now as as I am preparing to partake in the CrossFit games, as we're getting ready for the games, everyone, it seems like on social media is doing, the ring turnovers,
backward rolls and
the back rollovers and the forward rolls. And I think about a lot of people that don't know why they're doing that. And suddenly they see that and they're like, oh, that's going to rip my shoulder out of socket. There's no way I'm going to send grandma to the CrossFit gym if that's what they're doing.
They don't understand that that's a combination of understanding violent hip extension, body position, a horizontal pull into a vertical push. Like it's just a progression of that, much in the same. It's a progression of those things. It's a progression of a ring row. As much as an overhead squat is a progression of an air squat.
Yep. And what they're not seeing is that these are athletes that are doing this for years and years and years and years, like the highest level of expression. This is not what we're doing in our class.
But it's not even the highest level of expression. Have you ever watched the rings in the Olympics?
Yeah, but that's gymnastics. I'm talking about like the highest level for CrossFit.
Yeah, I know, but man,
because that's different. Yeah. Because gymnasts would say that, like, man, these CrossFitters tipping everything.
Well, it's interesting to me because I think that, I mean, we've already seen CrossFitters compete at the Olympic level in weightlifting, you know, but we will never see a CrossFitter compete at an Olympic level
for
in
gymnastics.
I mean, that stuff is wild.
Or probably not track and field either.
No, I think so that's another differentiator for CrossFit, right? Is, you know, we are not specific to any one thing. I would say the reason why that person, who was that? Maddie Rogers? I think Tia has competed at an Olympic level before.
Yeah, for weightlifting. She was an Olympian for weightlifting and bobsledding.
Yeah, that's weird. So yeah, I think you're going to have some outliers who maybe have some background in that stuff. But for the most part, like, we're not trying to be specifically strong. We're not trying to be specifically sprint fast. We're not trying to be specifically able to run 5Ks or to be able to do an iron cross on the rings, you know, or compete on the pommel horse. Like, we want to be able to touch those things and, like, not die. You know, like, I want to be able to go, if I have to do something that's going to take 30 minutes of nonstop movement, I can do it. You know, if I need to pick something up that's heavy, then I can do it.
Yeah. I want to be able to opt in. Like, I was listening to Boz talk about this. Like, I just want to be able to, if somebody says, like, hey, we're doing this weekend, are you in or are you out? I want to be able to say, like, I'm in, without knowing the details.
Yeah.
Like, and not have to question, is this something that's outside of my ability? Like, I just want to be able to opt in and say, like, yeah, I'm in, and not have to worry about it. And CrossFit allows you to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that I walk around, I'm 42 now, and I've been doing CrossFit for over a decade, you know, almost 15 years, I think at this point, 12, 13, 14, 15, I don't know, forever. I feel like I've been doing CrossFit forever. And there's not a whole lot that physically makes me nervous. You know, I mean, like, I'm not scared to go and sprint if I need to go and sprint. I'm not, like, if somebody's moving, like, yeah, man, I'll help you carry that couch. I'm gonna try to carry it by myself. You know,
like, do it for time.
Yeah. You know, like, I think about a lot of other 40-year-old men, you know, guys that I went to high school with, like, bro, they look old.
And they need all the details beforehand about things.
You know, like,
so I was talking to somebody else that was talking about, you know, she loves to travel, but her travel freedom has dramatically decreased because now she's got to plan out trips of, okay, where are we staying? I have to map it out. You know, how far of a walking distance is it? If we do walk, are there places I can stop and rest? Like, and that's so common.
And that's exhausting.
Yeah.
I would rather be exhausted by a workout an hour a day
than exhausted trying to figure out if I'm able to do this thing.
Yeah.
And then plan around it.
That's a hard place to live, man.
Choose your hard.
Yeah. Always. You always have to choose your hard. So I think I like the conclusion that I'm coming to is, I think the broader question that we're after is, if you are walking into a warehouse style gym and you're picking things up and putting things down and you're doing a little bit of sprinting and you're doing a little bit of long distance, are you doing CrossFit even if it's not CrossFit? Probably. You're at least doing a variation of CrossFit or something that aspires to be CrossFit.
You can thank CrossFit for putting it in the mainstream and allowing a gym to be opened for you to go do it with your friends.
Yeah. So we're going to be snobby about it and say that you should just go to an affiliate. If you're going to do CrossFit, just go to an affiliate, dude. But at the end of the day, like, I'm just glad to hear that people are out doing something, you know, like, I would way rather, especially since like all of the COVID stuff and how really lazy I feel like we've gotten as a society. Like just to hear people, out there doing something, like picking
Mhm.
something up, putting something down, getting a little bit out of breath and sweaty. Like I'm happy with that at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's just like my standard lowering or.
No, I completely agree. I think it's awesome. I think, and the other thing, this woman is a 53-year-old female.
Oh, wow.
How in the past, like, yeah. And so as I'm like dogging on, oh, she's doing CrossFit. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm thrilled. And it is so, so cool because at what point have we seen 50-some-year-old women in garage gyms lifting heavy things
Yeah. For
and
sure.
who can explain to me what functional movement it is.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
We had a
And thanks CrossFit.
Yeah, right. Thanks, CrossFit. I mean, the strength class at CrossFit Final Call. Thanks, CrossFit. Because if it wasn't for CrossFit, then we wouldn't have that little deviation from it, to give people something a little bit more specific. And that's what it is. It's something that's a little bit more specific than CrossFit. It's aimed at something a little bit different. The top of the pyramid for the strength class is not sport. It's just a little bit of a different target. So I think ultimately, like, it is your target and your goal that matter the most. I don't think that any one way of training is right or wrong. It just depends on your goal. You may have a goal that wants to go here, but the way that you're training is going to take you over here. So that's the wrong way to train for you and the goal that you're trying to achieve. So, if you're just trying to be strong, fit, and healthy for life, man, CrossFit's the way to go. It's the best one.
Yeah. And I would say, and how quickly you want to get there too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. But if you just want to be strong, like strong as a freaking ox, then go do powerlifting. If you want to be big and jacked, then you should go do bodybuilding. If you want to run for miles and miles like a maniac, then go do marathon training. Like if you want to do obstacles and get dirty, then go do Spartan races.
Go do a Spartan race.
Yeah. If you want to be bougie about your obstacle courses, then go to a High Rocks.
Hey, but you know what all of those things have in common though, is that CrossFit's a really great like foundation for a lot of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. I think if you come into a CrossFit gym and train regularly, you would do well at any of those things.
Yeah, that's the other thing I think about too is like, could I say, hey, I'll go do this 10K with you this weekend? Maybe not a 10K because I just don't. That doesn't sound appealing. But a 5K.
Do that.
Like, hey, yeah, I'll do this 5K with you, or yeah, I'll sign up for a Spartan race. Like, could I physically do it? Yeah. Am I going to win? Absolutely not. But I could do it, and I wouldn't kill myself. So to me, that's a win, and that proves that the methodology works.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we're after. So CrossFit is for anyone, for everyone.
It's for everyone. Or no, it's for anyone. It's not for everyone.
Yeah. CrossFit is for anyone, but not everyone will do it. Because
what do you have to do? What do you have to have? What do you have to have in order for CrossFit to work? You just got to show up and you got to be willing. That's it.
Yeah. Willingness and openness, I guess, are the two things that I always say. Like, to anyone new coming into the gym, I'm like, hey, I just need you to be open to what we're going to teach you, because it's probably going to be a little bit different than what you've been taught before, if you've ever even been taught.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. What are we going to talk about next week? Should we decide that now, or should we leave it open for the future? Did we cover everything that you wanted to talk about today?
Yeah, I think so. Most of it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the L3 headspace right now of working my way through the L1 manual. We could.
So you pick. You're going through your L1 manual.
I am.
Okay. So where are you at in it right now? Or are you just kind of bouncing all over?
The very beginning. What is CrossFit? Well, I take it back. What is fitness? What is CrossFit?
What is fitness? What is CrossFit? Does it
I just went through the technique lecture where Glassman's talking about like technique and style and signature.
So what's your next article that you're going to go through, or video, or do you have it? Do you
I
have
don't
a
know yet.
plan?
I would have to go look.
Okay. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should
TBD.
go through on our next podcast, whatever your next study point is. So if it's like
I'm
a
good with
video,
that.
we'll pull the video up and we can like work through the
I'm good with
video,
that.
or
Yeah,
we could
I'm
like
good
pull
with
the
that.
article up like they did on
Yeah.
Get with the Programming, and like
Yeah.
go through like what stuck out to you, what stuck out to me, like a Bible study for CrossFit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. So
Okay.
perfect.
We'll do something like that.
Okay. And
Or
listeners, it does.
Or
And
Q
Q.
put his vote in, and we'll cover something
Yeah.
Q with us to talk about.
I will say, it doesn't matter if you're a coach. It doesn't matter. Like, everyone should be familiar with the L1 manual, because it will make you a better athlete. It will make you a better human. So it's good stuff for everybody listening, not just if you're studying for your L3.
Yeah, especially if you are a CrossFitter. Like, I feel like there's like any exerciser would find value in the level 1 manual. But if you're a CrossFitter specifically, it's going to give you such a different level of understanding of what you're doing every time you walk in the door. I mean, I think that just reading the manual does that, but actually going and taking and getting your L1, it to me, like, yes, it's the first step from a coaching standpoint, but that's not what the L1 is about. The L1 does not turn you into a coach automatically. The L1 gives you access and understanding of the methodology,
and
so
puts
that
you in the space with other people.
Yeah. So, and it changes the way that you're going to look at each workout when you come in, and in the long-term vision that you have of what it is that you're doing when you go to the gym. So cool. All right, we'll get nerdy next time.
Love it.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're probably nerdy every time we get on this.
I was gonna say, I think that's just a given with us, but it's fine.
Okay. All right.
So, all right. Cool.